everybody, and welcome back to another day 8 of the 31 days of indie horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got an awesome guest here. She's never been on any of my shows before, but she had really interest in doing this and watching one of the movies, and probably have her back at some other time. Please welcome Ri Maku. How you doing, Ri Maku?
Pretty great. How are you?
Good, good. Um, so when you first heard that I was doing this, like, because I posted it on Facebook and like I got like 28 people who freaking said they wanted to do it. I was expecting two, like literally, and I got way a lot. And I was like, well, I mean, I could have it almost a guest per day if I wanted to. And unfortunately, some people aren't able to make it, or maybe they'll come back for another one later or something.
hmm
But so to begin with, you had never heard of this movie, The Encounter, right?
No, no, I hadn't.
And neither had I. I found it on Tubi. It was like, I mean, I was just going through all these different suggestions for stuff, and I was like, oh, the poster looked really cool, and I didn't really know much about it, or I didn't even kind of look into it. Did you look into it before? Did you like do a little research or anything?
No, I figured that it would be best if I just sort of watched it right out the gate.
Like blind, just
hmm
blind watch and everything.
Blind react
Yeah. And so what was your initial reaction to it?
to the overall thing, or just
To the
to like.
overall movie?
Hmm. I think my initial reaction was to wonder what the budget was
Okay.
and how well it was utilized, because there were points where it was insanely well edited, and where I found the special effects to be just pretty good. And then there were other points where it sort of seemed like they ran out of budget, so they didn't have as much to work with.
Yeah, like okay, we're gonna go into spoilers here. So if you have
Mhm.
not seen it, please go to Tubi. Thought it might also be on Amazon, but I don't think it
Yeah, it's on
is.
Prime.
Is it on
It's
Prime?
on. That's
Okay.
where I watched it.
Okay, cool. So the alien at the end, like that you kind of see, like that's in the ditch,
hmm
that was freaking amazing. Like that, if that, I don't think it, I think it was like I don't think it was CGI or anything.
Yeah, the one in the cave.
I think it was like, it wasn't it more like in a ditch kind of thing, like uh,
Yeah, like it was a rocky
yeah,
area. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
In the Rocky area. So there was like this amazing alien at the end. So I mean, obviously through the whole thing, it's aliens that are attacking, and it's
Yeah.
a a very much a found footage film throughout most of it, and we'll go into that in a little bit. But the alien, I was like that blew my mind. I mean, I feel like they should have showed the alien earlier too.
I
Like a little bit.
agree.
You know.
I was personally really impressed with the ship at the very end,
Hmm.
like the super very end. I was impressed with the ship, and I was impressed with the ship from the beginning.
Right.
And pretty much all of those little like tentacle-y things, the little pods with the tentacles, I thought that those were really well done, but that seemed more practical effects.
Yeah, some of them were practical. Some seemed to be a little bit maybe CGI. Like the ships seemed to be CGI stuff, but
Yeah,
which
but the smoke around the crash, around the wreck, some of it seemed like they perfectly blended practical effects and post effects. To me, I'm not super familiar with that, but to me it seemed like some of that was legit, like smoke that they had, and some of it was probably in post. Either way, it blended beautifully.
what do you mainly do yourself as a in the film industry?
I'm a director.
So yeah, so when you look at this, you look at it in the sort of the director's eye, like do you look at it like, because I'm a director too, so like when I look at things, and but I'm more of a writer, so I like more like look at the writing, aspect of it. But when I look at the direction, I'm like, okay, I probably would have done something different myself personally on some of these things. Did you feel that way when you were watching it?
I did. There were a few points with story exposition, especially like when it comes to writing. I would have changed. Overall storytelling seemed to, in each individual story, it seemed to flow. But when they came together, they were all at such different levels, such different speeds that it sort of threw me off. So I probably would have evened that out a little bit so that when one group made a discovery, another group could also make a discovery.
Right. Yeah, because that's, I mean, that's what it is. It's like, it's almost like an anthology, found footage thing, because it was like three different storylines that were kind of interwoven into this one, or maybe it was more than one, three, but it felt like just three. I mean, you had the friends who were out there going in the woods, the typical, stuff you see in horror films. And then you have the guy that's documenting, I guess, his hunting stuff that he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the what is it, the like the lady, that the scientist, and everything.
The ranger or the scientist?
I was thinking the scientist that
Yeah.
like, she's like, she
Oh,
got
that was one thing that stood out to me with the scientist.
what?
Uh, the lighting. I don't
Oh
know if you
yeah,
want to go into that yet.
yeah. No, definitely go right into it.
So I noticed with her type of face shape, and this might just be coming from the perspective of somebody who has dabbled enough in lighting that I know what I want. Uh, the lighting that they used for her seemed like it was kind of straight on, or at the very least, like full fill.
Hmm.
Um, Given her face shape, it sort of wound up being the case that it lit inside of her nostrils, and that was all I could see was just straight up her nasal cavity, and it distracted me from what she was saying because it was like this girl's nostrils are beautifully huge. Uh, so it kind of to me detracted from the overall thing that she was saying. I don't even remember what she was saying,
That
to be
feels like it should
honest.
be on the cover of the poster. This girl's nostrils were beautifully huge.
She was a beautiful actress, no
I
lie.
know,
I
no,
just I got a little bit distracted by her schnoz.
yeah. Well, no, and it like, yeah, I didn't, but I'm not like, I'm not all that into lighting as much. Like, um,
It feels
even
like if they lit her from the top down, then that would have just like taken that away a little bit and still given her like a nice, and then you could just fill in the sides and just
hmm,
sort of avoid like, because it's like the difference between this and this. This is fine. This is okay.
okay. That's definitely, that's okay. That's interesting. All right. Well, there you go. If anyone needs to know like how to fix that thing, come talk to her. Come talk to Ri Maku there. Um. So let's also talk about, like, okay. So I talked about it before earlier about the basically found footage stuff aspect of it, and I I hate Blair Witch. Like, I really do. Like, I mean, I respect it and I acknowledge its existence, but it drives me bonkers because I'm so bored, most of the way through the movies when they do found footage, because most of it is maybe some like bickering or yelling at each other or whatever, but like,
It's the
or
moments you didn't need to see.
exactly, like, I don't care about these three people lost in the woods, like in Blair Witch. Like, I don't, I want to see the witch, and they don't really show that enough, and it's
Well,
not, you know,
well, what about things like Cloverfield? That was technically found footage, even though it was like professional found
it's been a
footage.
long time since I saw Cloverfield, and once again, knowing it was found footage, I don't think I went into it with the greatest of like feelings. Period. Like, I'm just not, and I'm not into paranormal activity. Like, I'm just, those aren't my thing. Which is fine. I mean, would I ever make a found footage film if I had a great idea for something and I wanted to basically do it better? You know, you know what I mean? Then maybe, but not better. Like, I'm saying I could do a better job than those guys, because I think they did a great job. It's just, it's not for me. Um, so as far as when I started watching this and going, oh, it's a found footage film, I was already like going, okay, like, I'm ready for, what I mean, for this to. And what I liked about the found footage thing was it was three different found footage things connected into edited into one thing, which kind of confuses me if you go the found footage route, because
Mm-hmm.
like, unless somebody like begins the conversation saying, you know, I have edited all of these together to make, you know, to make it work or whatever, these stories to show you this tale, um, then I can buy it. But like when it's supposed to be found footage and then you go to a different set and a different thing, it kind of throws me off a little bit as a viewer. I don't know. I'm weird like that. Like I kind of want it to be all or nothing. Like, you know, like they could have made
Mhm.
three different movies, you know, story, you know, with those three different storylines in a way, right? Like
Mhm.
if you know what I mean on that.
Yes.
Your dog agrees with me.
Yeah. Sorry, he got in here.
No, it's okay.
He's a
Um,
sweetheart.
yeah, he's cute. So do you like found footage films? Are you a fan?
It's a mixed bag. Part of me really likes found footage because it's just a unique way of telling a story to me.
Mhm.
It goes outside the typical Hollywood planned angles, and it leaves you to try and find the little moments because it doesn't blatantly and obviously put it on a platter in front of you,
Mhm.
like with Paranormal Activity, watching a pan drop or just the little details. That being said, it also does limit your storytelling to just what the viewer can notice. And in cases like The Encounter, I think that the story had a lot more to say, and it being found footage kind of limited that.
Well, I almost feel sometimes like they don't need to do it as a found footage. You know, I think
Yes.
there's two things. The idea that a lot of times people make found footage because they know they have a crappy video cassette thing, you know, and it's not going to look good, so they can get away with saying, "Well, this is a found footage film." That happens a lot. And then the other thing for it is, I just absolutely hate when when they're doing a found footage film, and the people like there's a specific scene where they are running up, or the guy takes the camera and runs up the stairs to talk to the girl. I'm like, why is he still documenting this? They're running away from like
It was the
something that's
light. I think it was the light on the camera. He was using it as a flashlight, I think. That was what I got from it.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, oh, then you just defeated my point there. That's good. All right.
Sorry.
Well, no, it's perfect. I kind of okay. That works. So maybe that's what they were doing mostly, is using the camera as a light for most of the thing. Maybe I don't know, but he's like filming everything, and it's like, I mean, I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of times people wouldn't do that. You know, if they're in a hurry,
I
they would
agree.
drop the camera. And I've talked about this on other found footage things I've reviewed. I mean, most of the time people just, I mean, if you were getting chased by something, you would not be filming yourselves and your friends running around. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Well, I think that a good plot point when it's addressed in these films, a good reason that they usually give is it, pretty much just someone has to know what happened here, kind of thing. And I think
right.
that that's where that limitation comes in because there's really not a whole lot of other reasons to do it.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I get it. No. So it's yeah, so when you have that thing, you have to make it work for, you have to make it specifically work for the script, right? So you have to say, okay, this person's going to document everything that happens no matter what, to make it work. But like I said, like in real life, that wouldn't necessarily happen. Like I know, like if I were getting chased by something and I were documenting it before, I would drop my camera and be like, I'll come get that later or something, or I'll screw the camera. My life is worth a lot more, you know? Like, I mean,
Yes.
I'm sorry, but it's not, even I mean, I love my phone to death. But if my phone were slowing me down, or my phone were, like I wouldn't be, using the phone unless it was to call someone, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't,
It begs the question of what is worth like holding it the same esteem as your life, because if
right.
you're prioritizing if you're prioritizing filming this thing and you're valuing it over your personal safety, it's like, what makes it that important?
Exactly. No, and I agree. And I don't know. Like it's not the first movie to do that. Like this is a formula in those kind of movies. It's just it's a thing. It's kind of like every exorcism movie starts out with an exorcism, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah, a
know, have
little
you
bit.
noticed that? Like, I even was talking to a friend of mine who was writing an exorcist script, and I go, dude, why are you starting it off with an exorcism? Like, this gets me
Like, we
so
know what it
annoyed.
is. We know what
Right.
it is now. You don't have to introduce it like you did in the original. Like, you don't have to be like, this is what this is. Like, at this point, everybody is aware. So
Hmm.
you don't have to start it. You don't have to, you can tease it in, you know?
But he told me that's the formula. That's what people expect, right? And so that's kind of what I get from the found footage stuff is like people are like, yeah, you know, I'll give them that they're videotaping this whole thing. But it's just one of the things that like bothers me on a on a level that probably doesn't bother most people who actually enjoy these kind of films and stuff.
Well, another factor you could add into it, especially with the modern society, is I mean, are you the type of person that documents everything on Instagram or
Mm,
Facebook or
I
Snapchat?
mean, more on Facebook than Instagram, or because I'm not really a pictures guy.
Right.
As
So most of the new generation coming up, Gen Z, a lot of them they document so much of their lives because it's part of that society, you know,
mm-hmm,
and a lot of millennials do it as well. Some don't, some do. It's kind of a mixed bag there. But what I'm seeing is a lot of Gen Z pretty much just documents everything. So in the case of Gen Z, in a situation like that, I think that documenting would definitely be a thought because it's so common of a habit that they have.
mm-hmm,
So that might be maybe a new reason to throw in there for future people doing found footage type of stuff. Like, one, don't put it on a really crappy camera that glitches out every time something intense is about to happen. Because I mean, let's be real here. Okay, we get it. Alien activity, ghost activity, messes with electronics, but like, does it have to though every time? I mean, and then like with them having the reason to document it, I
mm,
can understand it not being able to have service, not being able to post it directly to Instagram, but saying like, I'm gonna do that later, kind of thing. That, but like, recognize that that is a part of modern society.
right. Unfortunately, you have to like if you do it on an indie level, you gotta say something other than Instagram. You gotta come up with your own fake
Yeah.
social media thing, like InstaFace
Or
or
you can just
something.
say, I'm gonna post it. You don't have to say what to.
Yeah, exactly. Which that's actually very smart. That's an easiest way out. Like I never thought about that. Like just go. I'm just gonna post this later.
Yeah, because
You know.
like, who actually says, I'm gonna post this to Instagram? I'm gonna post this on Instagram. They're like, I'm gonna Snapchat it, maybe, but for the most part, it's just, I'm gonna post it.
Right. I'm gonna post it, or I'm gonna snap it, or I'm gonna TikTok it.
I don't
Or
think they
whatever.
say TikTok it.
I see. I'm not hip with the kids.
With the lingo.
The
Not
lingo.
hip
I
with the
mean,
lingo.
what? I mean, what do they say when they just say I'm gonna post it on TikTok?
I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna make a TikTok.
Because they say Twitter is tweet, which makes no sense whatsoever. But then, right? If you think about it, like,
Well, I mean, Twitter's thing is a bird, right?
but
I don't know.
what
I'm
what
not
is?
really
No, it
exposed.
is, it is, and
And
that's
birds
why
tweet.
yeah, exactly. But why? What? How is the Twitter mascot a bird? Like,
I mean, a little bird told me. Maybe, I don't know.
well, I know,
I
I
don't know. Yeah,
we're
I'm not
we're
really
getting off,
sure.
we're getting a little off track, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
but
I don't have
yeah.
an answer for everything. I just have guesses.
Oh, okay. Well, I damn it, I thought you were an expert on everything in the world. I mean, I was hoping for that, but I guess we'll
Sorry to disappoint you,
uh
matey.
damn it. All right, so to go on, all in all, this was actually kind of it was a fun movie. I mean, it wasn't I wasn't bored by it. Like I don't think I found myself sleeping through it or anything.
Right.
Um, it was interesting enough, and there was especially during like the chase stuff and things happening. Um, I just I kind of wish we could have saw more of like what's gonna happen to everybody. Period. Like,
Yeah, like what happened to the blonde chick? I didn't
yeah,
understand that.
she kind of
And
disappeared, didn't she?
yeah, she just like up and poofed, and they never found her body or
They never even
addressed.
tried to find her body, as far as I
They
remember.
never addressed what happened to her, or maybe I
Hmm.
missed it. I don't know. I There were points where I was a little confused.
Yeah, like all of a sudden he was outside, and the other girl Holly was like yelling at Colin, like, "Where are you, Colin?" Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Also, man, the dude who, I guess this is another spoiler, dude who killed Holly seemed remarkably chill. Like, who goes up to someone and is like, "Hey, I think I iced your girlfriend." like, again, he was going insane at that point, but that seemed like a big jump because he was like so concerned, and then out of nowhere he has that headache, and then all of a sudden he's insane and quoting the Bible. Like that
Right.
exposition wise didn't I didn't get it.
I did sort of laugh at the iced your girlfriend line because like
Yeah.
it was sort of like, yeah, you're right. It was so calm. And it was like, who the fuck just says that to somebody random? And like, I mean, he killed Holly and he didn't know the other guy or whatever, but like you don't know how somebody's going to react to you once you've like done something like that or whatever. And it was an accident. It wasn't, I don't think it was
Yeah, but then he drank the water she was currently bleeding into, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
oh, what is
yeah.
happening? Like, oh, sorry, like I really thought you were one of them. Oh, good idea. Let me just drink this water you're currently dying in, and see ya.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It was it was a little weird. There was some parts where I think like they had ideas of where they wanted to go and maybe they just didn't film certain things or something or
Yeah, like his progression into insanity could have used a good chunk more versus how slow it was going in the beginning. Like, I thought that his tail went super slow, or rather went medium fast. Like the camping trip people, I thought that went at a very good pace. I thought that being the core of the movie was such a good way to tell it, like the way
mhm,
the pacing. But when it came to that blitzing through the ranger thing, I feel like that didn't need as much.
mhm.
We put a little more investment into somebody that wound up just being one monster among many.
Right.
Um, it was, I think, necessary, but it didn't need as much versus crazy hunter guy. It was like slow pacing. All of a sudden he's insane and it's quick, and then it's the end of the movie. You know?
Exactly. Well, also the end of the movie with them showing the like I guess like the scene with the engagement scene. Do we need
The
that? Like, like the scene where Colin, gives her the
Yeah.
ring. Did we really
Um.
need that scene? Like, was that? I mean, I didn't understand, like, because she was showing him stuff from his videos. Was that just something she showed him too? Like that she had?
I maybe I think that adding it in there was meant to inspire some sort of like aw, but I think what could have been really cool, and I wish that the directors had and writers had thought of this, is they never explained why everyone else died when they came into contact with them or went insane, and why he came back okay and they couldn't hurt him. If they had dropped some kind of hint into that proposal scene, some just tiny detail in the conversation or the background that was like, that's why they chose him, then it would have been necessary and sort of like an afterthought.
And then it would have felt more like they could have done like maybe a sequel with like his character a little bit more or something.
Yeah.
Like they could have been a setup for like, because honestly, I can see this as just one movie, not having like
Mm-hmm.
a franchise or anything behind it because I mean, it kind of just ends and, it's like, okay, it's done, like it doesn't make me go, okay, I want to know what happens next necessarily. Except I did want to know if like the aliens were going to take over the world or something, if there's going to be more stuff with that.
think that he was saying something like they crash landed here. It was an accident. It wasn't supposed to happen. But then he explained it a little weird. He was talking about like a what did he say? Like some sort of nuclear something, some sort of infection or contagion or plague or something. I wasn't sure what was happening with
Yeah,
that.
it got a little confusing, but
Yeah.
I mean,
But,
it's
sorry.
hard to make. You know, I don't know. Sometimes when you're making the movie, it gets kind of hard because everybody kind of has their own ideas of what this story is. The director has their own idea, the producer has their own idea, the writer has their own idea, and the actors have their own idea. And
Yes.
then it becomes sort of this like thing where it kind of evolves into either a really cohesive story or something that kind of I think feels like it gets lost in the middle. And I felt like this sort of got a little confusing, and that probably doesn't help the movie itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some things warranted a little more explanation. You make a very good point.
Yeah. So there you go. So all in all, I mean, it was entertaining. I would recommend it if you're like into um if definitely if you're into
Like good B films.
good B films and like sci-fi alien horror stuff. I just watched actually the next podcast I'm doing is the Hollywood Boulevard podcast, and we're reviewing the color out of space. And so I'm like, damn, I just watched like two alien sort of movies back to back. And both were similar in some aspects, but mostly different. It's different stories, obviously. Um,
Alien movies are like one of my favorites, honestly.
for real,
Mm-hmm.
I did not
Yeah.
know that.
I'm a
Uh,
big fan of them. I'm a big fan of them. I think that they hold a very interesting fear, especially for 2020, given that they finally admitted that there is such a thing as UFOs, and
uh,
everybody was like, "Yeah, we know."
wait, where? What? Huh? I
Oh
was
yeah,
not
they
aware of this.
yeah the army admitted that like UFOs are real. They didn't
I
admit like any more details beyond that, but they're like, yes, there we have documented UFOs.
hmm,
And everybody was
interesting.
like, nobody was surprised, nobody freaked out. Like they were just like, yeah,
Have they found Bigfoot yet?
I just feel like Bigfoot is not real.
Ah, wait, aliens are real, but Bigfoot isn't.
Well, yeah, because the fact is that if Bigfoot were real, then he would have fought back at some point. If Bigfoot were anywhere near sentient, like they think that he is, something would have happened by now with all the deforestation. I do think that mermaids are real, but that's mostly because there's just so much we don't know about the ocean, so it just seems more plausible. Just like there's so much we don't know about space, so it's plausible. And I'd say pretty logical for us to assume there's other life forms out there. Because even though statistically it's not likely that there are many planets that can sustain life in the way that our planet can, for us to assume that we are the only intelligent life out
Uh
there
huh.
is utter hubris.
Okay. I do got to ask you real quick though, because you just said you believe that mermaids are real, and
Some form of it.
okay. So do you think that there's like a half human, half
No.
fish thing or something, or
No,
like
I no.
what do you like? I mean, so you don't think of Ariel, you don't think of that as
No.
actually a real thing, but like what would be a mermaid then if it's not like human?
It would be our closest idea to something relatable. I don't know what kind of form it would take. I do know that it would just simply be the fish version of a higher thinking
Okay.
sentient creature, whatever that may be. And I would assume, I would hope, not assume, I would hope that a higher sentient being would have some form of tool building to qualify it.
Like a communication kind of thing where they could talk.
Communication and just the ability to use tools to construct devices externally to them. Like, for example, apes and monkeys have now entered into a new age of their evolution where they are using tools as a common thing rather than just occasionally using a rock. Like, they're starting to form tools.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
I would assume that they would be somewhere at that point in evolution or higher up.
All right. Well, there you go. some kind of form of a mermaid somewhere, probably out there. We don't know.
There's an
Just like we
interesting
don't know about Sasquatch. We don't know.
we don't know. There is an interesting theory though when it comes to aliens. And the interesting theory is that the universe is still relatively young because it's
Right.
still expanding. So there is a very, very minute chance that we are actually the most technologically advanced species out there. It's a
That's
small chance,
sort of
not very
sad.
likely. It is sad. It's very disappointing. So I hope it's not true.
I hope
But
it's not true too. I'm
if
hoping
it is
that
and we are the ancients, we'd better not mess it up.
I know. I I feel like I mean because we've been okay. So the Earth, has been around for like I whatever 2021 whatever, probably longer than that. Longer
Billions of
period.
years,
Yeah,
millions of years.
millions of years, and here we are, and this is the best we got. you know like, I mean, it took us like this long to get to where we're at right now, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I'm kind of hoping that there are aliens that do have like, like that know how to teleport, you know
Right. Aliens
uh
that didn't go through the dark age, so they had a chance to overcome superstitious beliefs and just go forth with science.
Ah, there's also the ideas of like alternate realities and everything that people
Yeah.
believe in and stuff, and I would love to believe that's true too. That there's an alternate reality of this freaking world where maybe
Yeah.
2020 is a good year, you know, for the
Somewhere.
alternate reality.
Somewhere
Um,
out there.
exactly. There's so much we don't know, and so that's why I did enjoy this movie because, I mean, it did sort of have a little fun with the idea of aliens coming down and encountering us, and how would they react, in real
Mhm.
life. I mean, I guarantee you none of them would be a scared friendly one like ET, who loves Reese's Pieces. But you know
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know though. I mean, like, how would they react if they actually saw us?
True. That is a very good question to ask.
See, and that right there could spark a whole movie in itself. Is like
It's
just
true.
asking that one question of like, have you ever thought about writing or directing a sci-fi movie?
I have. I actually wrote a couple of
Oh,
horror movies, and I wrote a paranormal one, and I wrote a sci-fi one that was only vaguely based on actual science about the Large Hadron Collider
wow, like
and evolution.
interesting.
The idea was
Yeah.
that we evolved wrong, and that
Oh,
this was coming back. The God particle was coming back to get us into the right evolution.
well, next one you should do is mermaids and how they don't look like humans, but imagine what they would look like,
They
and
got fish lips.
yeah, fish lips. That would be
They can only say certain vowels because they just don't have the lip capacity to say certain other ones.
see, there you go. You see, you're right there. You're creating something in your head. I can imagine somebody would do that at some point. But yeah, so thank you so much. This is awesome. So did you have a good time?
Yes, this was
Did,
fun.
yeah, and did you have a good time watching the movie too?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did overall have a good portion of it was spent doing, and another portion was spent just doing this, and but most of it was like, okay, I like this.
The three different ways like that you went through,
It
you
was like
know.
a jambalaya where most of it was really good, but then occasionally you came across like just something that you weren't sure what it was, and you weren't sure you were a fan of it. But overall, it was like still good.
you you weren't sure if you were a fan of it at all, but you all in all it wasn't terrible or
Yeah,
anything, and it was, I mean,
it
like
was an
it,
entertaining B film.
yeah, exactly. And I know the director, Robert Conway, did a ton of other movies too. Like, I mean, if you look at his, you know, I think he even did a Kane Hodder movie or something. So
Oh,
he's done a bunch of different horror films, in
right.
this world, uh, and that's just, I mean, good for him going out there and making a movie, found footage style. Like maybe that's what he wanted to do, is he wanted to write and direct a, found footage movie, and this
Yeah.
is, most of the time for found footage, you don't even need writers. You can just kind of come up with shit on the spot. It's probably better if you have writers, but
Improv can get a little dicey because then you can come across things that completely like invalidate the entirety of what you've done so far because somebody says something off the cuff.
yeah, but yeah, I guess technically that's why you'd have a script. Well, I guess there's no script, so
Like,
no script
here's a plot
supervisor.
point, here's plot point A, here's plot point B, get there.
Right.
That's the good kind of improv.
Because otherwise it's going to get really confusing. Like somebody says one thing and then later on it's contradicted and then they don't realize it and then just keep going. And then the movies.
Scripties are essential.
Yeah, continuity. We have at Indie Film Cafe, we have a monkey that my friend Paul has, that's a squeaky monkey. And he squeaks it every time continuity error pops up. He's continuity monkey,
Nice.
So there you go. And was there really continuity issues in this movie much? I don't think so. I noticed.
I think it was too hard to tell with the found footage issue.
Yeah.
Or not issue, but like
the lighting sometimes, and
there was definitely a difference in coloring, but I think that was meant to sort of, I mean, I wouldn't assume what was going through the director's mind. To me, it seemed to delineate which storyline you were in.
Yeah, no, that I picked up as like each time you saw kind of it was almost like a different camera or whatever, having, doing it. So I that did not bother me whatsoever. So yeah, I don't think there was much continuity issues or anything like that would, like there was no day for night shots and stuff that like I'm in day, then all of a sudden I'm in night, and then I'm in day again, right? Like it didn't seem like that, which drives me bonkers because I'm like, okay, so you filmed this when it was getting close to the day, and then you still filmed knowing that this is, oh, we'll just fix that in post. And
the worst sentence you can ever say casually.
Yeah, we'll just fix that in post.
It's a curse. It's a curse. Your whole film is cursed.
This interview will not be fixed in post. Like it's going straight out. So there you go. Thank you so much. You were wonderful. I really enjoyed having a discussion with you. And if you would stay on, I'm gonna say a couple more things to you after. But
Sure.
Thank you so much. And everybody, check in tomorrow for another exciting day. We're gonna keep doing this till 31 days. Holy crap. I'm going to be exhausted by the end of it. And I've got other things I'm doing in November, of course. So So thank you guys so much. And thank you. And before we go, is there anything you'll want to plug?
I have a page.
Okay. Yeah, like a Facebook page?
I have an Instagram page for my film work.
Okay.
And I'll pretty soon on there start posting teasers from a pretty big project I have, which actually this outfit here is a part of.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So my Instagram is nomad_film_productions.
I don't think I'm following you on there. I'll have to check.
You messed up, buddy.
Well, not yet. I'll be following you. Trust me. Right after this. But I won't be messing up. I'll be double checking and promoting you and doing all that.
Thanks. I'll promote you too.
Okay, good.
That's what the industry's for.
I know, exactly. And us Virginians got to stick together, right?
Yes, we do. Especially when we all inevitably leave Virginia.
Oh, well, I'm trying to get you out to come out to LA for real, like to move out here.
That's the idea. So if anybody's hiring.
Yeah, exactly. Hire her and then,
hire me
we'll
in
have
a
her
red
out
card.
here. Yeah, exactly. So we can do this more in person. So
yes.
Thank you so much. And everybody, thank you guys for checking this out. Check us next time. Okay. Bye.